Hello, YouTube. What amazes me are people who do not think for themselves. You would think that this would not amaze me any longer, especially as old as I am, but it does. We know any person can carry an ideal to an extreme, can exaggerate the happenings of reality, or purposefully or mistakenly deceive another. Yet, we continue to diminish actuality when we ignore objective fact. I use the word actuality here because it is important to understand I am addressing the state of actually existing objectively. Funny thing about conspiracy theories, it seems to work like an off switch to your frontal lobe. It used to be if someone mentioned something, it was investigated. The more fantastic it appeared, the more fascinated one would become and probably generate interest in exploring it. Now, add the magic word conspiracy, and it acts like the word racism. It either stigmatizes people or it closes down discussion. Let's be clear. Do you think world events like government and corporate takeovers occurred without a conspiracy? No, it did not. Stop being afraid to use a word when it is appropriate. So many people are afraid of being mislabeled, they are effectively silenced. Let's define a few words. We are not afraid of definitions yet, I hope. We understand words can have multiple meanings. However, I will select from memory the basic definitions that I wish to share with you today. The word conspiracy means a secret agreement between two or more people to perform an unlawful act. The word theory means a tentative insight into the natural world or a belief that can guide behavior. The word fact means a concept whose truth can be proven. So whether we label something or not does not detract from the reality of the action occurring independent of your mental participation. So face it, as long as we have people who band together to do unlawful activity, we will have conspiracy. As information is presented and later confirmed, we will have conspiracy theory or conspiracy fact. Simple. Instead of allowing your reasoning skills to be harnessed, why not ask better questions or different questions? Like, is there some sort of social engineering occurring when we allow fear to act as the sentry of our perceptions? No matter how a person behaves, which has produced the conspiracy theory in question, should that person's behavior color the remaining people who produce theories in the future? What is important here is the common perception people have of someone to whom this label, conspiracy theorist, is applied. Again, what is important here is the common perception people have of someone to whom this label is applied. It is equally important to ask, who is applying the label and why? I have never encountered information that made it evident that man is an inherently rational creature. As we learn to deal with cognitive content, we have the ability, assuming all parts are working as they should, to use our minds. We can select to teach ourselves how to process carefully. Even when we do this, sometimes fear or disinformation creeps in, producing a fraudulent worldview. What amazes me is how easy people are pushed about, as it relates to how they are perceived by others. So, many people appear concerned about how they are detected by the senses of another. When we are more clinical about it, does it not put things into perspective? Why would one invest worth into how the majority of people sense you? Is it not more important to stand up for what you know to be true, even if you are later seen because of this action as a target of mockery? It appears the common perception is when someone is labeled a conspiracy theorist, they are suffering from some type of psychological disorder. Many times it seems this label is applied by authority figures. Why not then ask immediately, do they, these authority figures, have a vested interest in how I perceive this individual who they are labeling? More importantly, if what a person claims interests you, ask is what is displayed as conspiracy theory actually is conspiracy fact or fiction. Are any parts of the claim correct? If an unlawful authority narrative is questioned, do you think they will approach this passively? Especially if you are popular or have certain credentials. Have we not learned that a sizable amount of information from the media deserves to be scrutinized, based on their track record, that is? Well, it seems the biggest indoctrinator regarding the perception of the conspiracy theorists to the general public is the media. Also, do not think that alternative media, or I should say I caution you not to think the alternative media is somehow automatically more dependable or have a higher level of integrity. Unless an individual has earned your respect and trust, then why link any label to them? Why not allow others to prove to you who they are? Anyone who has worked with public relations understands reputation matters. If one is rightfully or wrongly labeled, is it not easier to either trust or dismiss the information provided by them? How convenient that must be for those who have a vested interest in how you perceive. Sadly, I think the main reason people choose to believe an authority version of outcome or events, despite consuming evidence to the contrary, is because it requires little from you. Easy and safe are things we have learned to appreciate, to the extreme. If you ignore most or all of the evidence, and accept as plausible whatever ridiculous explanations you get, then life becomes simple. Do we not see how well this works for certain fundamentalists? Is it not irritating when a person opts to believe when they have the ability to know? The deal is this. For most of us, when you know something to be true or false, this produces additional questions. Will you take what you know and view it as a burden? Will you take what you know and view it as an asset? Will you be burdened with taking what you know and integrating it into your life, or ignoring it? If you ignore it, is the truth then a burden? It is okay to question authority. It is okay to question history. There are many ways to deceive someone, especially those who are lethargic. When we do not conform to reality, we muddy the waters of history. This incorrect information will mislead people from understanding the entire truth. When we do not ask the appropriate questions, we will be duped eventually. Our chances of existing in reality and not a fantasy world increases when we know, increases when we ask correct questions, when we think for ourselves, when we cease to be intimidated by fraudulent labels, and when we take knowledge and properly apply it. Thank you for your time.